All right, let's just hop straight into it. Happy New Year. It's the first trading day of the new year. And I'm gonna be real. I broke my rules today, unfortunately. We gonna go through it though. Didn't break it too bad. Caught myself before things got too out of hand. But I broke two of my rules today. And I paid the price for it, which I always love when I pay the price immediately when I break my rules. That's not to say I love when I break my rules, but that's to say when I do break my rules, I like when the market reminds me why I'm supposed to follow my rules in the first place. Yes, it comes in the form of a lesson where more times than not money ends up being lost, but those lessons keep me in check. I mean, even when you have your plan, even when you're seeing that account growth. You're slowly bringing profits in. Some days you just show up to the market and I don't know, something kicks in and you decide you want to break your rules. Um, it's a daily battle. It's not a once you get to the profitable stage, once you're able to bring money in, once you're able to consistently execute your edge, like you don't have issues anymore. Like no, it's every single day is still a challenge to make sure you follow your rules, to make sure you trust your trading plan, to make sure you're analyzing the right way. Make sure you're not rushing. Make sure you're staying patient. It's an everyday battle. It never stops. Once you get to a profitable stage or once you get very consistent, it's easier. It's more of a habit for you to show up to the market and do the right thing. But you'll still have some days where you show up and do the wrong thing. But at the end of the day, it's only Tuesday. I got the rest of the week to make up for it. So let's just go ahead and hop straight into it. So, um, first things first, we want to go ahead and mm, look for on the 3 hour. So on the 3 hour, price is still trading in the same range heading into the new year. So we could jump straight to the 1 hour. So let's go to the 1 hour. Now that we're on the 1 hour, we want to go ahead and fast forward our time. 6, perfect. And we see, actually I had this on wrong because I had already drawn the revised version. So on the 1 hour, what we see from this low to this high, it's actually been broken now. So price broke it to the downside. Is it high probability? Yes, it closed here, pushed past it and closed past the break candle, and then it just kept pushing down to here. So what that means is we have a new low here. So we have a new low here. And then for the high, we need to zoom out and we want to create the whole box from here to the high. And at this point, we want to revise it as well because we can clearly tell that is not 50%. So we pull it back. Here, we're just going to pull it straight to the 50 because we know how much. I mean, we could just look at it and see. There's no clear area to just draw a zone because look how much stuff went on here. So we just pull it back straight to the 50. We have our new low. Let's go down and look. So price has impulse to the downside. We're looking for some type of push to the upside to test this zone. But we're just going to see kind of what the 10-minute is doing. So we did show up. I showed up like 30 minutes late today. I really kind of overslept. Woke up super late last night. Or, yeah, woke up super late last night. Couldn't go back to sleep till like 5. So when I woke up, I just woke up. I guess I slept through my alarm. I woke up at like 7:30 and came to the market. So this is kind of where the market was when I got here. So what I want to do, first thing I want to do is like we always do. Come find the clearest structure that I possibly can. The clearest structure on the 10-minute I see is this low right here and this high. So where price was uptrending. Price came, wick, 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 then finally broke. So this stays the high. It broke, boom, then gave a second candle push. After this, price pulled back. So we can bring this high down. And actually what we could do, because we started with this structure, we can draw this zone on. So price pushed to the downside, creating a high probability zone. Just because it left this zone is an open zone. So any open zones left in the structure we're analyzing needs to be drawn. Now, no open zone from all the way back here needs to be drawn, but hey, we started here and it left an open zone. So we want to draw it on because we don't know if it's going to get used or not. We just want it there in the event it might. That way we understand what's going on. So we can pull this one back to the 50%. But for me, I always like it when it's a nice gap right here like this. So for me, I want to pull it all the way back to the top of this gap. It's an open zone. I'm not too worried about it. Okay, now we can finish our analysis now. We have to identify these open zones and stuff. Only at the structure we're analyzing. So, next thing we see, 10-minute, pull back. Then it pushed, broke below, but is low probability, didn't give us any type of double push or two candle push. And then price broke here and it gave a push, but it hasn't closed above yet. So the 10-minute is low probability at the moment. So we see that 10-minute is impulse. So we want to focus on this leg on the 5-minute. So let's go to the 5-minute, kind of see what happened. Well, this leg matches the 10-minute. So let's scoot back a little bit just till we can find some good structure. So I find some good clear structure right here. Price has a low here on the 5-minute. 5-minute has a low here. All right, pull back, has a high here. Push down, matching the low of the 10-minute. And right now it's low probability. And then it pushes up, breaks, gives a second candle push. So the 5-minute matches the 10-minute structure, but the 5-minute is high probability where the 10-minute is low probability. So only thing I want to do is draw my zone. 5-minute. Check it, make sure it's at least 50%. It is at least 50%. And now we are just waiting. So let's go. Boom. We got a test in here. We're waiting for a confirmation candle on the 5-minute. Boom. We got a little confirmation candle. Look to enter a little bit above. 9.5. Let's see how that works out. Let's see if we get entered first before we draw everything. Nope, no entry, so we're looking for another one. Push to downside, 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 downside. Boom, so we get a little candle right here. We can enter a little above. 9.5. So we want to go up 10.5, so that would be 21.5. All right, so let's see if we get entered. Perfect. This one wicks us in. So this was the first trade that I took today. This one was a good trade. No rules were broken at this point. Let's go ahead and get our 75% level on. So 21.5 times 0.75, that's 16.1. So we pull it down, 16.1. Draw our partial. And then, yep, back up to 21.5. All right, so let's see what happens during this trade. Boom, we got a little push to the upside. Let's go to the 2-minute and see, is there any manageable structure? So we look on the 2-minute, no manageable structure. The last low was here. Price pulled back, kept pushing to the downside, and it hasn't broken away from either side. So what I do want to do is draw this 2-minute high. Because once this 2-minute high is broken, if it does get broken, I'll at least know then that the 2-minute lower time frame structure is trading in the direction is actually now in the direction that I'm trading in, which means it makes more sense. 1 minute, exact same structure as the 2 minute. So we just can watch it from the 5 minute right now. So there's nowhere to protect myself early. Um, Either price is going to push through and create some structure for me, or it's going to stop me out. So we watching it from here. Boom, we get a nice push to the upside. See, get a nice push to the upside. Let's go to the 2 minute. Perfect. Let's straighten this out so we make sure we have everything accurate. Perfect. So we got a break right here. We got a push, but it didn't break above this candle. It's still right at it. So let's get one more. Boom. That one didn't break above it either. So we can draw the 2 minute high here, but there's still no high probability structure to protect our trade with. So ultimately, either we're going to get stopped out or price is going to start pushing our way. We go back to the 5 minute. We see price spike below very heavily and closed below this 5 minute zone. So we would have went ahead and exited early. It's right there by our stop loss. Um, but because it broke the 5 minute and closed past the 5 minute on the 5 minute, I would have went ahead and exited early. Yeah, it maybe would have only saved me a few dollars, but remember, capital is king. Saving a couple dollars today can be the difference in having enough to take another trade and not. So don't ever be like, oh, I might as well just let it hit my stop loss, because that's the where you're going to trigger the emotional response. No, if it broke your rule, if it broke the zone, closed past the zone, exit, no matter how close it is to your stop loss. Save as much capital as you possibly can, because on a small account right now, it might be only a couple dollars. On a bigger account, that couple dollars can be a couple $100. Um, so you just want to practice good behaviors immediately. So we went ahead, closed this one. We consider this one an early loss. Well, really, I'm going to consider that a full loss. Yes, I exited early before I lost my full amount, but it was so close to it, I'm just going to consider it. After fees, it basically hit like a full loss. So I'm going to leave it as a full loss, even though I exited that trade early. So let's go ahead and go back and continue. Okay, so now we want to revise and reset up our charts. So we know that the 5 minute broke, which is equal to the 10 minute. Let's see that the 10 minute broke too. So 5 minute and 10 minute are really the same right now. So what we can do is let's just see how far price pushed before pulling back. So we did get a high probability sell zone from 5 minute because price kept pushing. Boom, and it started its first pullback here. So this is 5 minute. We're gonna analyze 5 minute first, then we'll go to 10 minute to see if it matches. So with 5 minute here, we got our 5 minute high up here. Want to go ahead, pull back, and then draw our fib. Make sure it's 50%. It is not, so we'll pull back, and I'll pull back to this little candle right here. 5 minute. Perfect. So now we can look at the 10 minute and we see, okay, the 10 minute didn't stop pushing. 10 minute kept pushing. So we know this is the 10 minute low. Or we could skip one more. Yep, so this is the 10 minute low because price kept on going on the 10 minute. Now, we see the hourly got broken, but the hourly won't make much of a difference to us right now because we're near the end of our session. So we see that the hourly is broken, but we're not really paying much attention to it because it ain't going to do much for us right now. We're focused on the 10 minute and 5 minute structure, which is going to provide tradable opportunities for me. So now we pull down because you got to remember this 10 minute structure is now different than the 5 minute. And we could pull it down here just a little bit better and make this a 10 minute zone. Because that means the 5 minute structure may be changing soon. So let's go to the 5 minute. So on the 5 minute, we got a pullback and a push through. So the low is the same as the 10 minute, but the 5 minute has a high right here. Because this 5 minute is now low probability, guess what I can do? I can go to the 2 minute. 2 minute, we got a low, right? Push to the downside. We have no break of the high on the 2 minute. Um, and this wasn't even a high probability 2 minute zone, so we have no reason to even be looking to trade here. So let's just let price do its thing for a second. Boom, price broke on the 5 minute, shot straight down. So on the 5 minute, we are still uptrending. Actually, we gotta zoom in down here. Yep, 5 minute, we are still uptrending, but it's low probability. We can go to the 2 minute, see nothing there yet. So let's get another candle. Boom. So it breaks the 5 minute and 10 minute low. Let's see if it keeps going. It doesn't. So now the 5 minute has a high there and a low here, and it's downtrending. Now again, just like the 1 hour, we don't really need the 10 minute anymore because it's so close to the end of our session that we want to now focus on the 5 minute, and now we can focus on the 2 minute as well because the 5 minute structure is low probability. So we go to the 2 minute, and what do I see? The 2 minute and 5 minute align. There's a low right here. Price broke it. And I guess that really just depends how you have the low drawn, right? If we draw it on here, price didn't break to this candle. Let's make sure. Yep, price did not break until this candle, which means we didn't even get a two candle push. Now, I'll be real, Aaron, during my live session, some way, somehow, when I drew this on, there was a break. So in my live session, I actually drew a zone right here. I drew a zone from here to there. I'll go ahead and draw it on because this is for myself. So I actually did draw the zone on here because for me, I don't know what it was I was doing, but when I analyzed it, I guess maybe I pulled the candle up a little too high. But it's a close it. See, this one, the ones like this are tough because you can't ever get it perfectly on the edge of the candle. So if you just make it a little bit too high, it'll look like a break. Like here, you see it close over the line, so it looks like a break. But you seen just a minute ago, it didn't look like a break when we drew our other line. So this one is really just a call that you got to make. Um, I haven't encountered this situation that many times. Either it clearly gives some room or it clearly doesn't. Um, so with me encountering it for the first time, I just went ahead and considered it a break, especially because it pushed so heavily afterwards. And that's what I'm gonna roll with, even in the video, because one way I analyzed it, it looked like it didn't break. The second way it did. I think from this point forward, if I have candles like this, I'm just not even going to consider them breaks at all. Or I might, no, I'm just not going to consider them breaks at all versus trying to justify it. But in this case, I did consider it a break. Price push down. Let's get our 50%. Boom. So this right here would be 50%. A little bit higher than 50, but I'm okay with that. So let's see if we get a pullback. Boom, boom, boom. So my first rule break of the day came right here. So as we seen when I drew my fib on, that the 50% was a little bit lower, but I drew it right here under the candle closes just because that makes more sense to me. However, when I seen this form near it, guess what I did? I pulled back up the fib and justified, hey, well, technically, if I would have drew my zone differently, it technically did hit my zone. So you know what I did? I went ahead, put an entry confirmation right up under here, and I entered this trade. Or let me go and say, oh, I this trade wicked me into entry because my entry was closer than that. But it wicked me in, pushed down some, barely, and then went in and stopped me out. So that was supposed to be the end, my second trade of the day, whatever the case may be. We took our two losses. So my first rule, I was a little bit upset, heated, frustrated, because it was like, dang, I broke one of my most simple rules. I simply always have and always say, if price doesn't touch my zone, there is no entry. It doesn't matter how close it gets to it. So to see that I broke that rule today, it did kind of frustrate me, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna just sit here and look at the chart for another second. So then price pushed into my zone, and this is the second rule that I broke. So the second rule that I broke is I took more than two trades today. So when I seen price push in and immediately give this confirmation, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take a third trade, but I did half risk. So if my typical risk is 100, I did $50 on this one because I understood I'm trading outside of my trading plan, but I really did want to take advantage of this opportunity if it was going to go my way. So 5, 10.5, and now guess what? So we got wicked into this trade. Um, and look what price did. Pushed right back up. So at this point, I'm anxious. I'm nervous. I'm already like, man, fuck. I'm already breaking my rule. It's not looking like it's going my way. And price ended up stopping me out. So I took basically 2.5 losses because my second one was for half. It doesn't matter how. And what I want, saying this out loud and going through it, a lot of people might look and be like, I mean, it really ain't that bad what you did. At least when you took that third trade, you went half risk. Hey, at least you could justify the reason for why you got into this trade. And the thing is, that's not the point. The point is, I have clear rules set in place. You don't get profitable. You don't become a profitable trader, especially not a consistently profitable trader, by justifying things that you don't normally do. If you read in any trading book, Trading in the Zone, which was one of my favorites, you get profitable by consistently showing up and executing your edge the same way every time. And today I didn't do that. Now that's not to say that if I would have took a win. No, because honestly, if I wouldn't have took this move, I definitely would have took this move. And as we've seen, this move still turned out to be a loser anyway. So I still would have took two losses today regardless. The issue is because I broke my first rule, it got me so emotional that I said, fuck it, I'm going to redeem myself on this third move, which one I should have never taken. But hey, some days in the market are just losing days. And losing days are just like you get good setups, you get your edge good, how you want to see it, and you just lose the trade. And that's okay. Today was just one of those days. I had the first opportunity was really good. We just lost the trade. Um, if we would have took this as our second opportunity, this would have been a good trade. We just would have lost the trade. Like simple as that. Um, so going through it, I mean, we would have took two losses regardless, but we took a third trade because we broke our rules. And that third trade came because the second trade we took didn't match our rules. So that's the importance of following your rules. So, I mean, today I definitely lost a little bit more than I anticipated and that I expected. But again, we get to show up tomorrow, um, refreshed. The biggest thing is that I'm not beating myself up about, um, and yeah, prices just been keeping on pushing. So the biggest thing and best thing about this is that I'm not here beating myself up about the rules that I broke today or the money lost. At the end of the day, if you're going to trade, your money's going to fluctuate. Even the most profitable traders have fluctuation in their profit. Today they might win two or three trades. Tomorrow they might lose two. The next day they win two. The thing is all in the risk management, all in your profit targets. That's what keeps you profitable. So you can't be upset when your money fluctuates. Um, but the big thing that a lot of people beat themselves up on is when they mess up. Like at the end of the day, this is only day two of 365. I have many more trading days left. Um, this is also only the first day of the trading week. So yes, I made a couple mistakes, but the good thing is that I did use risk management and control my losses. Even though I did break my rules. So now, because I control my losses, one, I didn't blow my account, I didn't lose my account, and I still get to show up and trade again tomorrow. Now, that third trade, it has set me back a little further than I would have been set back if I just took my two and walked away. Yes, but not enough to where I'm going to curl up in a ball and cry about it. No, I'm going to learn from it. I learned, hey, this is the reason why we follow if it touches it, then it's valid. If it doesn't touch it, it's not valid, because a lot of times it'll get close and it make it look like it's about to start pushing and it won't even push. And that's just to catch you in a fake out. That's just to catch a trader in a fake out. And then understanding that also, like, if I break my rules and that waste one of my trades for the day, I don't get an extra trade back just because, oh, I broke my rules on the first one. Why is that? Because just because I get a good setup doesn't mean it's going to be a win, right? And if you give yourself an extra trade because you broke your rules the first time, what you're basically saying is, I know this next move is going to win, so that's why I'm going to take it, right? Because think about the process I just said I went through. So I broke my rule on this trade and I was like, fuck, I got caught in a fake out, right? I got caught in a fake out here. And what was my justification behind it? My justification behind getting in this third trade was, well, now that price actually pushed into my zone, gave me a confirmation candle which follows my rules, I feel like I know that price is about to come down, right? So I was like, you know what? If price pushes past my confirmation, I'm getting in for a third trade. That way I can at least make up the loss that I just took. And guess what happened? Price did exactly what I wanted it to do. It gave me the confirmation. It pushed down, gave some very strong bearishness as if it was going to continue. And by the end of that same candle, ended up bullish. And now I just felt silly. Yeah, it started playing around, and then it just broke through the stop loss. So now that just makes me feel silly because it's like, man, well, I already took my first trade. It was a good one, and I lost. I took my second trade, it broke my rules, which irritated me a little bit. And then I took a third trade because I just knew that one was going to be a winner, and I still lost. It's a reminder that in this market, nothing is guaranteed. And it's a reminder that even a great setup can be a losing trade. That's why, as a trader, you don't put too much emphasis on the results of the trades you're taking, and you put most of your focus on the process of finding an opportunity to take a trade. Every day, I'm focused on coming to the market, analyzing it correctly, making sure I'm staying patient and following my rules to get into a trade. Well, to get into a good high probability trade. Once I'm in that good high probability trade, I mean, of course, I want to win and make money, but I'm okay if I don't. As long as it's a good high probability trade, I know the odds are in my favor. I'll take it. If it ends up being a losing trade, cool. At least I followed my rules. I know this was a good trade. It was just a losing trade. Um, but it's the times that you don't follow your rules where it's like, okay, I took a loss, but it was a bad loss because I didn't even follow my rules. So that means this wasn't even a good trade. I took a bad trade and a bad result happened. I can't accept that. But if I take a good trade and a bad result happens, I can accept that because I'm I'm in a field of probability anyway. Nothing in the market is guaranteed. Everything in the market is a probabilistic game, which means every time you're not going to make it. You feel me? Like Steph Curry, greatest shooter of all time, but every time he shoots, he does not make it. But if you leave him open, it's a high probability that he's gonna make that 3-point shot. You just because you know he's not gonna make maybe all 10 that he shoot, you don't want to leave him open 10 times in a row and give him the opportunity because all 10 are high probability shots. It's just sometimes even good shots don't go in. Just like in the market. You feel me? You probably not going to win 10 trades in a row. I'm not gonna say it's impossible. There's some traders who are just that in tune to where they might hit a ten trade win streak. But ideally, you might not hit 10 trades in a row. But you want to make sure the 10 trades you take are all high probability, because if you are gonna get that 10 trade winning streak, it's gonna come from taking high probability trades, not from taking a mixture of good and bad ones. So we're gonna show up tomorrow. Definitely be more disciplined. Definitely be more in tune with the rules, and hopefully the result matches that. But either way, tomorrow when I come back, there will be no rule breaks, and whatever result I have, I can accept it. Hopefully, it's a win, some wins and profits. But if it's not, as long as I follow my rules, I can accept that as a good trade. So, Happy New Year again. I hope for everybody to have amazing progress, amazing profitability throughout the year, and I'll catch you tomorrow.